Welcome back, Future Fighters. It's Trippy Cakes here, and this is a guide for low to mid-tier ranked alliances for Alliance Conquest. So I kind of got a request to do this video, and then I kind of wanted to touch on the topic anyway for lower tier. And when I say lower tier, it's not a bad thing. It just means that you're not aiming in that top 100 and all that other kind of stuff. So right now, my alliance is ranked at 369. Granted, there are only about 8 of us that actually participate in Alliance Conquest. We have some attendance issues, but that's fine. But considering that there is 8 of us, 369 is not a bad rank at all. And I mean, like I said, not bad at all. So the first thing that I want you guys to take away from this video is to work on yourself. The better you are, the better you're going to be for your alliance, and the better you guys move in unison. And that starts with cards. Now, I don't expect you to have a setup like mine, like where you got premiums that are damn near, or if not perfectly rolled. It's okay. I have a card guide on here. You can flip to the channel, check it out, see for yourself. Now, when it comes to your stats in PvP, yes, you have to worry about your attacks. You also have to worry about your ignore defense and your cooldown, so your characters are getting rotations out. But you also have to worry about max HP. Now me, I only have 20%. That's pretty low. Most high ends require at least 35%. But I have a ludicrous amount of attack, so that's where I'm like, you know what, forget some HP, and I do fine. Now, the next thing that you need to take away is understanding this map. Being able to read this map and determine where to go, what to do, etc. is going to make your Alliance Conquest flow so much smoother. Now, I know at lower levels you have less characters to use, which means every single character that you have that's 6-star, tier 2, tier 3 is more valuable. So I've sat in on some low alliances just to kind of spectate, see how they do it, give them tips. And one thing is that I see a lot of people, when they're trying to get out of these home zones, like 1 and 3, they're using characters that are just entirely too strong. You can get out of that zone with a 5-star character. You really can. Run through them, use your weakest. There's actually a tab where you can switch to see your weakest characters first. You can go with, I think it's level or rank, either one of those. Click that. It'll switch it. It'll put your weakest characters at the top of the list. It doesn't really matter how you set those up. You're just trying to get out of those zones. You got to work together for that too. If you have more than 10, say you got 15 people on, have 10 people in 1, 5 people in zone 3, boom, get out of there. And then there is the strategy that is kind of old. It's not really used too much, but they'll stack zone 5. And when I say stack zone 5, I mean they will put their absolute strongest characters. You will see a bunch of tier 3 Thanoses and stuff like that. Maybe not at that level. I don't know. It just kind of depends on who you're facing. But either way, they're going to put their best characters in zone 5. If they do that and 5 becomes way too much of a struggle, or you think it'll be too much of a struggle, this is for you leaders that are like, hey, go here, go here. If that zone is that stacked, let them keep it. Go elsewhere. 4 and 6, those 2 zones alone, those are going to put you above what that one zone is worth. So take that zone, let them keep it. And the cool thing about it is, let's say they threw all their strongest in 5, right? And you let them keep it. Yeah, they'll get those 5 points or whatever, but you'll be able to take the rest of the map without having to worry about their best characters coming and stomping people out or blocking you and stuff like that. And another thing is timers. In the beginning, when you're doing this initial phase, if both of these alliances that you're fighting are slow, it's okay to take it slow. Take a zone up to 90%, leave one fight untouched in there, and then start working elsewhere. And then when you're ready to, you can come back, close that zone out. So one important thing that really I haven't heard anybody talk about are these team up bonuses. So the team up bonuses, it's like, yeah, they look great to have, You're like, oh yeah, you get a cool name like the Uncanny X-Men #2, and then you have these stats and stuff like that. You have to pay attention to these team up bonuses because sometimes the team up bonus that they get does not benefit them, like that Iron Man, Spider-Man, and Rescue team up. You only get like a 5% physical attack off of that. That's the attack stat that you get. That's only going to benefit Spider-Man. Spider-Man is very meta, right? So he's already going to be strong. You don't want to just have one character beefed up. You want your team as a unison to be a problem. So it doesn't matter if the other 2 are crappy and you end up just using Spider-Man or whatever. What you're going to want is some balance. You're going to want those support characters to be able to dish out a decent amount of damage, or at least survive and do some damage, wear down that clock. Because as long as you have more people alive or more HP when it comes down to 1-on-1, then you're going to win that round, right? So these team up bonuses, you got to be very careful with them. Do these team up bonuses make sense is another thing. Is it going to be a waste? Like, there's a lot of different things where you'll think is good when it comes to these setups. And, sometimes it's not what you think it is. You also got to play with your leaderships too. You got to synergize your leadership skill along with the team that you have. Like the most elusive, or not elusive one, the most popular one would be like the Captain America lead for that 30% health increase. Then there's Thanos, and then Wasp on the team for debuffing immunity. Or, debuffing immunity, I guess you call it. So you'll kind of want to, that setup, the reason why that works so well is because Captain America and Thanos are both very, very strong. Then they're going to be immune to time freeze, webbing, and all that. So they'll be able to sit there and just wail on people because of Wasp, her passive. And then you'll get a 30% increase to those characters because of Captain America's, leadership. So when you do these, don't always go for just clicking set team, because some of these team ups are just kind of dumb. Sometimes you could just pair up two characters that have really great synergy and work really well together. But like I said, as you scroll through this list, you're going to see a lot of ones where you're like, well, that sounds good. But you also have to look at the stats on your characters. If you get like a team up bonus and it's like, cool down, ignore defense, and, some attack speed, and you look at the team that you're running with and those characters are at cap on these skills or on these like stats and stuff like that, you're going to go over. So they're not even really getting a bonus. So make sure you look at that when you're applying these leaderships and these team up bonuses. You have to know your roster. That is absolutely 100% important. Know your roster, because if you're setting like Warwolf up and he gives you that critical chance bonus and crit damage bonus, but the characters that you have him paired with for that purpose are at that cap, or they're going to become well over that cap, even if they're not at cap, say they're at like 48% and you pair him with them, it's only a 2% difference. It's not going to make a huge deal. So you'd want to go with something that'll increase defenses. Defenses are very, very important in Alliance Conquest. See, that's why it's so hard to pair it with like my Thanos. He's pretty much capped on all of the important stuff. So pairing him up, I try to go for as much health as possible. A lot of my characters are going to be at cap. I don't expect you guys' characters to be, but what you want to do is synergize them to where you are getting as close to these max stats as you possibly can if you're not already hitting them. So, these are just some tips. Just choose wisely when it comes to it. And then another thing that I did want to point out is when you have your team set up, if you're not going for character bonuses and say you're just setting up a team, don't put those characters that will resurrect again on your second fight. You don't want to do that, because potentially you can lose out on an extra life. And then you can also set up that team, or like their enemy that you're facing in there, to take a zone whenever they want. Because say you have Adam Warlock on your second squad and he dies, he kills somebody and dies again, comes back, wipes out your team, and he technically won, that's going to leave that zone open. Yeah, they'll all appear dead, but you'll have lost all those characters. And, they could sit there and be like, hey, you know what? We'll close this when we're nice and ready. We can throw whatever we want in there. But they could throw 1 stars if they felt like it. So never put your reses on the second one. And then when I said about, potentially losing an extra life, say you go through the first round, your Adam Warlock or whoever dies, they come back, then they finish out that round. When they go into the second round, if they die in that one, they're going to come back again. So again, that's a potential life that you would lose out on if you just sat them in the second slot of the 6 characters that you pick. So be very, very wise about that. As far as, just know when you're outclassed, know when like you're not going to be able to go head to head. Let the other 2 alliances duke it out, then come in and sweep them when they can't recover because they've been fighting each other. And then know that sometimes you'll have to switch your phases. Say you're phase 1 and you're just getting stomped because they're too active. It's not likely they're going to be that active during phase 2 or phase 3 during the day. So just know when to say, hey, we're just going to end up losing characters. We got to switch these rounds up. Because sometimes I'll do that. If we don't have enough people on, I'll be like, hey, you know what? Don't even maybe cap a home zone, and we'll sit there and wait. And we'll try it again on phase 2 because we're just completely outnumbered, which we usually are. But if we're outnumbered and we can't outpower them, then we'll wait, switch phases. And I mean, these are just some tips that you might want to take into factor, and also have fun. Don't take it so seriously. The AI is running the show most of the time, and the AI is not all that reliable. Sometimes they'll spam the silliest skill you can think of, but it's okay. It's a decent game mode. Yes, it needs improvements, but you know, we can't help but love it. Anyway, this has been Trippy Cakes, and holy crap, this was a lengthy video. Sorry it was long-winded, but there was a lot to cover. Have a good one.